The message reads like this. Hello Nashi, please post for me as anonymous. My brother, I was responsible for the death of my friend because I had fallen in love with her husband. Ever since the death of my friend, strange things have been happening at my house, and all of this is connected to the way that my friend died. I was born in a family of 4, and I am the only girl in my family. Growing up, I was a spoiled child, so much spoiled that my own siblings would always complain about how my parents were treating me and spoiling me. So me being the last born, my siblings would always say that they felt pity for me. Growing up, I always loved and I always wanted classy and rich guys. I started dating when I was doing my secondary level, and I wanted to be spoiled during break time that we had at school, and I loved smart but quiet guys. Nashi, I had a friend whom I used to share with my secret, but this friend of mine, I only had one problem with her. She will end up dating the guys that I had refused their proposal, and that will always make me angry. So it happened that she fell in love with a guy that I loved, but I was embarrassed to show people that I had feelings for this guy.
Would you like to make £72,000 in just one property deal and go on?
Did I show this guy that I loved him because he came from a very poor family. So when my friend dated this guy, I became so jealousy. Whenever they had a misunderstanding, and if my friend would come to me asking for advice, I would lie. Then I'll feed my friend with bad advice because I just wanted to tear them apart. The jealousy that was in my heart was just too much. But the more that my friend and her new boyfriend would spend more and more time together, I became so much infuriated with them, and the jealousy was so much that I started to desire her death. So back in those days, that was when WhatsApp was introduced, but most people didn't use it much back then like they do now. What I did is that I took my mom's phone and I started communicating with my friend's boyfriend. I seduced him over the phone and we started to date. As we were dating, he didn't know that it was me whom he was speaking with. When I saw that I had succeeded in seducing him, that time my mom was using a BlackBerry phone, so I took a screenshot with this certain app called Screen Muncher. Then I kept that picture. I took that picture, then I sent it to my friend, and then she broke up with her boyfriend, saying that her boyfriend had cheated on her. So Nashi, when these two broke up, it was a chance given to me. It was more like an open door for me. So I started to chat with my friend's boyfriend. Sometimes me and my friend's boyfriend, we will chat the whole night as if I was comforting him. And that was when I started to express my feelings towards him. When I had told him that I loved him so much, he said it was okay, but he said that he cannot give me a response since he had just broken up with my best friend. He told me to wait because he wanted to think about it. I patiently waited for his response, and finally he gave me a feedback. After about a week, me and him, we started dating, but I had a problem with him. The problem that I was having in this relationship, he was now comparing me with my friend, saying that she has never asked much from him, and I was always asking things from him. Yet I knew that he came from a very poor family. Nashi, my friend, then left and went and stayed with her auntie. And my friend's boyfriend was working at that time. He was then transferred and he was working far away from me. We didn't actually break up, but we were separated because of his work. So after my boyfriend had left me, so many years went by. And one day, unexpectedly, I don't know what exactly had happened, but I just received a call from my friend. She told me that she had finally reconciled with her former boyfriend, and he was the one who was helping her with the construction of her parents' house. I don't know how exactly they had reconnected, but when my best friend told me that she had met with her former boyfriend, when she told me this news, it truly pained me because deep down I thought that now this was my boyfriend, and I knew that me and this guy, we had not yet broken up. The only reason why I was not in communication with this guy, it was because we had been separated because of his work commitments. After my friend had told me this news, I thought of a way, and I hatched a plan of revenge. And I planned that if I was ever going to get a chance, I would make sure to sleep with my friend's husband. And I wanted to prove to him that I was more faithful than my friend, because I knew that my friend, she was no longer a virgin when she got married to him, and I was still a virgin. So I knew that if I was going to sleep with him, I knew that if I was ever going to have that chance to sleep with my friend's husband, if I did that, it was going to ruin my friend's marriage in the long run, because he would have to ask the question if I was still a virgin and my friend, when they got married, was no longer a virgin. So it meant that my friend was loose. I dated so many guys, but I had kept myself. I made sure that all the guys that I had dated in school, even after school, I never had any sexual intercourse with those guys. Me and my best friend, we kept on communicating and communicating, but she didn't have any single clue. If only she knew that deep down in my heart, I was not happy for her, because I thought that she had stolen what truly belonged to me. One day, so my friend called me, telling me that her husband had been transferred back to our town in which I was staying in. As a good friend should do, she asked me to go around to look for a 2-bedroom house for them to rent. So I told her that I had gone around looking for a place for them, but I had found a place at my relative's house, but I was just lying to my best friend. The only reason why I had told them that I had found a place for them to rent at my relative's house, I did it for the simple reason that when I would feel like I wanted to see my best friend's husband, it would be easy for me to visit them anytime. I'll be pretending as if I am coming to visit my relative, but I'll be having my own motives. So my best friend and her husband, they moved back into town. When my best friend and her husband moved back into town, I quickly discovered that my best friend was pregnant. I was so hurt, I was so heartbroken to discover that she had fallen pregnant for the guy that I thought was mine, for the guy that I had loved since our high school days. Jealousy and envy forced me to go and see a spiritualist. When I went there, I lied.
Need help clearing out your clothes? Sell on Vinted and make extra money. Start selling today.
Do you want to learn how to make a full-time income using AI and ChatGPT?
I lied that I had been betrayed by my best friend. I lied to the Sangoma that my friend had stolen my husband from me, and he said that I should not worry. He told me that that was just a simple task that I was asking him to perform. He told me that only one item was needed for us to do that ritual. He told me that I should go back. Then when I return, I should bring my best friend's bra so that we can do the ritual. I went back. Then I went to my friend's house. The day that I stole my best friend's bra, actually my best friend caught me in the act, and I had to lie to her that I was busy looking for my hair clipper in her washing basket. She believed me, and I went ahead and I stole her old bra. My brother Nashi, after this, my friend became so sick. She became so much sick that she was returned back to her people, And when she was returned back to her people, she was 4 months pregnant at that time. When I knew that my best friend had been returned back to her people, I started acting as if I was a wife to my best friend's husband. I kept his keys. I washed his clothes. I cooked for him. And finally, I told him that I was still a virgin. When I told him this news, he was so happy, and I knew that he was finally mine. When I knew that I had finally captured the heart of my best friend's husband, what I did is that I went back to that sangoma. When I went there, I was then given another charm. He told me that for this charm to work, I had to drink it each and every day in the morning. As for me, I just thought that maybe this was just a normal love charm. I didn't know that this ritual that I was drinking each and every morning, it will end up in the death of my friend. I had been instructed by that sangoma to soak this charm overnight, and then I had to drink this water in the morning. This water, before I drank it, I was told that I had to mix the water with goat or chicken droppings. So when my friend was 4 months pregnant, I had to throw in 4 goat droppings into this water. I did this until my friend finally died. When my friend died, she was 7 months pregnant. The doctors said that it was an ectopic pregnancy, and it took everyone by surprise. Everyone was taken by surprise because the previous scans had shown that the baby was okay, but suddenly it was now an ectopic pregnancy, and I was the one who had caused it. A week after my friend's death, I then moved in with her husband. When I moved in with my friend's husband, I also gave him a charm so that he would never listen to anyone, including his own family members. Back at the Sangoma, I was given a root of a tree with instructions to mix it with my new husband's food. So I started to cook this charm for him. I cooked this charm for him for about a week, and whenever he ate my food, he will say, "Wow, this food tastes so nice." News went around that me and my best friend's husband, we had moved in together. One day, my mother-in-law once came to our house and said that I must not stay with her son because it was still too early for us to move in together, and we had to consider the fact that it was only a week since the passing away of my friend and her child. As she was speaking with us, my husband got so angry, and he took a knife which I was using because at that time I was busy preparing salad, and he threatened his mother to get out of the house that very same night. But I had to beg him to calm him down and to let his mother stay for the night, and he finally agreed. After this incident, everyone in his family tried to stop us, but as for my husband, he would not listen to any one of them. He didn't have any choice at all because of the charm that I had given him. Despite what had happened to my friend, my brother Nashi, I was married that very same year, and we lived together, me and my husband, for about 2 years without facing any challenges. Until one day, when my husband came into the house complaining that he had been slapped on the face by someone whom he had not seen. And from there, my husband lost his mind. Now I was the one who was being the father and the mother. I was responsible of taking care of the whole family. The only way that we are able to survive is that my husband's parents, they left another house, and the only way that we are able to survive is that we have another house that was left behind by my husband's parents. So we offered up that house for rentals, and the money that we get from that house is the money that we use for our own survival. Now, strange things started happening at our house, and we had to move out of that house. Then we found another place to rent. But when we moved out of the house, my husband became so sick. He was actually running mad. until we returned home. This is what happens, my brother Nashi. Whenever we move out of the house, my husband will run mad. And if we move in back into the house, he will be normal again. Then the whole thing started. When it started so funny. We will hear movements on top of the roof as if there was a chicken on top of the roof. But what surprised me, I was like, what? Is that a chicken on top of a roof? Whilst we were living in the suburbs where you could hardly find any chickens, and no one there keeps any chickens in our neighborhood. Then the most terrifying thing happened last year. Last year is when we started to hear those terrifying sounds on top of the roof. When we would hear these sounds, it was as if a person was walking on top of the roof. What happens is that whenever we hear that terrifying sound as if there is a person walking on top of our roof, then sometimes there will be a knock at the door. And if you go there and if you open that door, you will feel a very strong wind rushing into the room. But whenever this happens, when I show that I am getting scared with all of these terrifying signs that happens in our house, since my husband is someone who is mentally disturbed, he will just laugh at me. Nashi, I am now actually staying at my aunt's house. I am thinking of confessing all of my sins that I have committed to my relatives, but I simply don't know where to start. Dear listeners, right there